Your Honor, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I'm just a regular guy. I am not a flight risk. And this is my first alleged offense. And the prosecution has not presented one single piece of evidence against me. Now, in these circumstances, unless the state has obtained some new piece of information relating to my involvement in the matter in question, then I find it highly prejudicial, even constitutionally offensive, to keep me detained.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Listen to Pavarotti.
Can I be your superhero?
Welcome to The Revealing. This is Pavarotti. Hold on to your hat. Okay, so it's important to note that Bryan Kohberger did not leave his apartment that night, go to Stadium Way, take it down to 270, and then take 270 across the main highway into Moscow, come down around and into the King Road neighborhood like law enforcement suggested, because the two sightings they said was his right here at Stadium Way and Nevada Street had fog lamps. His didn't. The vehicle on Floyd Cannabis Shop had fog lamps and his didn't, so he didn't go this route. So he likely went the route that he said he did, which is over and down to Huawei Park. But on his return trip, he came back up across up Stadium Way back to his apartment. And he was caught on camera about 5 times coming home that morning from 5 a.m. to the time he left, to the time he got into his apartment. So it's important to note that the vehicles caught on camera coming home was actually Bryan Kohberger, and it was identifiably a different vehicle. You can tell it didn't have fog lamps. It was Bryan Kohberger's car, just like he said it was. The vehicles leaving out wasn't, though, which now gets us into the vehicles coming into the King Road neighborhood, and we are now one step closer to solving this case, folks. Now we're going to go to rebuttal expert disclosure. Again, likely Anthony Imel, FBI agent. Anticipated rebuttal testimony on January 16th, 2025. Defense filed an expert disclosure for Stephen Becker regarding digital forensics and vehicle identification. In response to Becker's technical report dated January 23rd, 2024, this looks like what I read to you yesterday, but it's not. The state intends to introduce the following anticipated factual testimony from FBI Special Agent Anthony Imel, likely. And Imel will testify regarding the defense's claim that investigators were not able to determine if there was or was not a front license plate on the suspect vehicle, identified as a 2011 to 2016 white Hyundai Elantra, hereafter referred to as Vehicle 1, on collected video surveillance in the early morning hours of November 13, 2022. In addition, Imel will testify to the investigative significance of Vehicle 1 not having a front license plate. This is where it gets big, y'all. We're about to nail this thing. Imel will testify he has reviewed surveillance footage in order to determine which, if any, video clip showed whether or not Vehicle 1 was displaying a front license plate in the early morning hours of November 13, 2022. In reviewing the surveillance footage, Imel located video clips which showed a clear view of the bumper of Vehicle 1, and in doing so, showed that there did not appear to be a front license plate attached to the vehicle. The below is only a summary of the collected video surveillance showing no license plate. It is not intended to be an all-encompassing disclosure of the entirety of the collected video showing Vehicle 1. Right, because you sure wouldn't want to get into that. A full summary of video of Vehicle 1 has been previously disclosed. The below noted camera locations were checked for their timestamp accuracy as compared to the actual current time as noted below. And it's going to give 13 and 11 South Main Street in Moscow at 32746 is one of the examples. And then coincidentally, it's going to give all of the 5 a.m. returning, which are actually Bryan Kohberger's car, as the other examples. That's the only summary of examples that Anthony Imel wants to provide in this. Well, we can see these are Kohberger's car. That's him coming home from the park. Nobody's questioning that. So this entire rebuttal basically consists of vehicle 1 is seen traveling westbound on Steiner Avenue, crossing Main Street, and continuing westbound on Louder Avenue. The vehicle does not appear to have a front license plate attached, which is kind of strange to me because you can clearly see the vehicle on Ridge Road as it comes from Steiner doesn't have a front license plate either, but they don't want to mention that one. And I think there's good reason that they don't want to mention that one. But because they checked the timestamp accuracy of the cameras, then they had to put this additional line in this disclosure. The camera time approximately 1 minute and 43 seconds behind local time. The camera time is approximately 1 minute 43 seconds behind local time, 327:46, plus 1 minute and 43 seconds. What time does that make it? Let's take a look if what Mr. Imel here says holds any water. So, does it hold any water? Well, let's just go through this real quick. And I know I do this a lot, but I've got to reiterate it because most people, nobody will acknowledge this to this day. It blows my mind. But this is Kohberger's car, obviously no fog lamps. Here's the car at 244 at Nevada Street and Stadium Way, clearly showing fog lamps, but also no front license plate, because that's what this discussion's about. Here's the car at 254, showing fog lamps, no front license plate, obviously the same car. And then here's the car seen just about 7 minutes later or 9 minutes later at Floyd Cannabis Shop, and you can clearly see the illumination of the tail light, the headlight, and the fog lamp. Same vehicle, probably. Definitely not Kohberger's, though, because his car doesn't light up right here. And it's not like I'm cherry picking these things. These are cars that law enforcement claimed was Kohberger's in the probable cause affidavit. And this car, to this very day, they claim is Kohberger's. And it's clearly not. So they're 0 for 3 on those. So what does Anthony Imel do? He knows that he can't claim any of these vehicles. So he wants to claim the vehicles coming back after 5 a.m. that are absolutely acknowledged to be Bryan Kohberger's actual car. You can see right here, there's no fog lamps. This is Kohberger coming back from the park. Right here, no fog lamps. Kohberger coming back from the park. Right here, no fog lamps. Kohberger coming back from the park. And then right here is a very clear picture of Kohberger's actual car, no fog lamps, coming back from the park. So yeah, these don't have license plate because Kohberger didn't have a Idaho license plate or Washington license plate at this time. But he fails to mention that the other cars they said was his didn't have a license plate either. So there's number one, but it doesn't stop there. The other vehicle that he mentions is this vehicle that's seen in this very cut off description of this photo crossing over the Sunset Mart. And it appears to not have a front license plate, or at the very least, maybe have one wrapped around the bumper right here. And for some reason, he doesn't want to acknowledge this next vehicle that's seen on Ridge Road that should be this same vehicle because it clearly, or not clearly, but you can see it likely doesn't show a front license plate. But he wants to leave this one out. Why is that? Real simple. Because he says 13 and 11, this is in his new unreleased document we just read. And he has to reiterate this part. And this is really what is amazing to me. Because when they first released the video of the vehicle on the Sunset Mart, they released it without a timestamp. So we could never verify the timestamp of this actual vehicle. But now in this unsealed document, it tells me one of the reasons this document stayed sealed, because he actually lists the timestamp in this one, 3/27/46. 1 minute and 43 seconds behind local time, he has to put in the next statement behind this, which makes this vehicle actually crossing this sunset mark right here according to his own timestamp at 3:29:29. So that's why we were so shocked when Lana was first looking at this and I couldn't verify it. And I was skeptical because I couldn't find the timestamp on the video that was released. And that's when Translucent got this that actually showed the timestamp. And look at the car. And the timestamp is 3:27 and 46 seconds. And when we went, bam, we got them. Now, when we get the new unsealed document from way back in January, he actually had the same timestamp in his document. 1 minute, 43 seconds behind that time. And then when we look at it and we see that that's 3:27:46, 3:27:46, he listed the exact time that we all thought it was, which means the actual time is 3:29:29 when you add 1 minute and 43 seconds. Remember this, 3:29:29. Because the next thing they claim is Kohberger's car came from this position going west onto Louder, and then you see the next video, except for one thing. Remember 3:27:46. I'm sorry, you need to remember 3:29:29. Here comes the car they say was his leaving that gas station, 3:29:10. And remember in the FBI report, he says that Indian Hills Drive is camera time accurate to local time. So, and he's got 1 minute and 43 seconds behind local time as Main Street, but Indian Hills is accurate. So look how they did their original FBI report. They said that at 3:28:56 at 13 and 11 South Main, the vehicle is going westbound on Steiner. And then at 3:29:02, you see the vehicle at 1125 Ridge Road, like we just showed you in the video. But what I just showed you was his actual timestamp of 3:27:46 and his actual underneath his timestamp stating you've got to add 1 minute and approximately, where's it at? Where's that? 1 minute and 43 seconds. You got to add 1 minute and 43 seconds to Main Street. He just said that it was at 3:27:46. You add a minute and 43 seconds, that's 3:29:29, which is actually 20 to 30 seconds before the vehicle that you see on the next camera. So they have the vehicle going from here to here to here, but you would have to go from here to here and then hit a time warp and go back in time to be here at 3:29:02, because this is 3:29:29 according to his own math and his own report. So there is no possible way in reality, in this reality, where the vehicle that passes 1311 South Main Street is the same vehicle that passes Ridge Road. It's mathematically impossible for this vehicle to go back in time and then be this vehicle. And this was a lie right here, because he knew the timestamp was 3:27:46, and he can add 1 minute and 43 seconds to that and get the correct time of 3:29:29 and know that this was wrong. This was a lie by law enforcement, by the FBI, and if it's a math error, it's a math error that put a guy in prison. So, even if there's one open-minded guilter out there, just to help them understand this, if the vehicle is passing the sunset mark right here at 3:29:29, according to the FBI, and it's heading west, there is no physical way for this vehicle passing this gas station at 3:29:29 to go 2 blocks and back in time to 3:29:02 and be seen heading this way. It is impossible. This car had already come this way before you ever see this car 30 seconds later going across this intersection. This vehicle at the sunset mark And the vehicle seen on Ridge Road that is then seen driving up and into the King Road neighborhood is impossible to be the same vehicle. It cannot go back in time from here to here. And even more so, the vehicle that's seen crossing the Sunset Mart at 3:29:29 never appears here on the Ridge Road camera, or else the FBI would have put it in their report, and they didn't. They only wanted to put the 3:29:02 Ridge Road car in their report. As you can see, once you get to 3:29:02, the Ridge Road video we just looked at, then there's another camera on Ridge Road at 3:29:04 that they list. The vehicle at the Sunset Mart still hasn't passed the Sunset Mart at this time. Then it goes straight to the dumpster cam on Linda Lane and straight into the King Road neighborhood, and then begins all of the circling until finally, right before the crime at 4:06, the headlights are visible in a window reflection. Vehicle matching the description travels west on the Queen Road, makes a U-turn at the intersection, and travels east on the Queen Road. It's not until that vehicle, and then it pulls out after it goes around and parks. But it's not until that vehicle that we really understand what we're looking at in this case. And this is why nobody has ever seen the rear of this vehicle like I've showed you in the video yesterday, because when we go to the original release footage here obtained by Jules, did a great job, and we go to the playback speed, I can slow it all the way down and hit play and watch. As this vehicle comes through, you never see the tail lights, even at this speed. Watch real close. See, they never appear. And if you try to back it up and go forward, you can't find a frame. It just jumps right over it. And that's at the slowest motion that you can look at it on YouTube. And that's how almost everybody's been looking at it. And I've recorded this thing at the regular YouTube speed and then uploaded it into my editor many, many times, and then slowed my editor all the way down, and it will not show it. Here's how I found it. I recorded this portion of this video at the lowest speed I could record it in YouTube, and then I uploaded it into my video editor, and then I slowed the video editor down as far as it would possibly go. And that's the only reason I finally seen these taillights, y'all. And when you slow it down at those types of frames, it goes frame by frame, bam. And when I first seen that, I went, wait a minute, I've never seen that before when I was doing it at this speed. So I backed it up. I said, what did I just see? And then as it started going forward, that's what I'm used to seeing, not even that much really. And then boom, I was like, whoa, look at this. The whole rear of this vehicle, the whole taillight, it's all illuminated, and it's illuminated in a certain way. It's not like one continuous light. It's this whole thing. So now it's all new ammunition. This isn't Bryan Kohberger's car here either. So where I messed up before was I thought there was two Hyundai Elantras conspiring, circling this thing. But all it is there was a Hyundai Elantra at the Sunset Mart, and there's a totally different vehicle from Ridge Road going into the King Road neighborhood. And we now have an identifiable feature on this vehicle to figure out what it is. And I've got a pretty good idea what it is now. I've learned how to use this AI software, and AI will tell you anything you want it to tell you if you direct it to tell you. But if you use the AI and you use it right and you do it in an unbiased way and you don't give it any prompts, then it will give you correct information. Watch this. Okay, so I start out here with just a simple question. I said, I have an unknown vehicle I need to identify. It is likely a two-door car, and I did give it that prompt because I thought it was a two-door car, with a large continuous rear tail light that looks to be flat, that goes across the entirety of the rear of the car. It also has a rear window that comes to a point like an eye and has side horizontal lines on each side. Can you help? So I didn't give it anything about an Elantra because I knew it would go ahead and try to figure out how it was an Elantra if I did. Here's what it said. Based on your description, the vehicle is likely the Hyundai Ioniq 6, a modern electric car known for its highly unique streamliner rear design. And then it goes on to tell me why it's possibly this Ioniq 6. Then it gives me other matches like a Porsche 911, a Kia EV6, and a Lucid Air. And I said, well, wait a minute. Let me get a little bit more detailed on this. So I uploaded the picture of the rear taillights that we just seen in that video and a side view of the video of the vehicle seen at 401 on Ridge Road. And I said, here is the rear taillight seen underneath the railing in the first picture. The side window lines are similar to what is seen in the second picture. It says the vehicle in your images is a 2013 to 2016 Dodge Dart. While it is a four-door sedan, its swept-back profile and aggressive racetrack lighting often lead it to be mistaken for a sportier two-door coupe. And then it goes on to say the racetrack taillights. The most defining feature of this car is the massive continuous LED light bar that spans the entire width of the rear. It is relatively flat and integrated directly into the trunk lid and body. The I-shaped rear window, the rear glass tapers sharply at the sides and at the bottom, creating a pointed almond shape consistent with your eye description. The side horizontal lines, the side profile features prominent body lines that runs through the door handles and kicks up toward the rear window, which aligns with the side horizontal lines you noticed in the second image. Window detail. The rear window contains horizontal defroster grid lines, which are highly visible in low light or blurred footage. I'm on record, baby. And then I added this picture showing the Elantra as it's sideways right here on King Road. And I said, can you approximate the size of the vehicle to the right with the headlights on based on the known measurements of the truck to the left being a four-door 2500 Chevy with a long bed? And it goes on to say, using the reference of the Chevrolet Silverado Crew Cab long bed 2500, we can estimate the size of the smaller vehicle to the right. A known point of reference, the Chevy truck, 2013 to 2016 Chevrolet Silverado 2500 Crew Cab with an 8-foot long bed is one of the longest consumer vehicles on the road, and it gives its dimensions. Comparative estimate. In the image provided, the unknown vehicle on the right is positioned at a similar distance from the camera, allowing for a side-by-side scale comparison. Length comparison. The sedan on the right appears to be roughly 65 to 70% the length of the Chevy truck. Based on the 25.5-foot length, this puts the sedan at approximately 14 to 15 feet long. Height comparison. The sedan is significantly lower, appearing to reach only about the mid-door line or belt line of the 3/4 ton. The Chevy truck stands 78 inches tall. The sedan is likely between 55 and 58 inches tall. Sizing conclusion. Vehicle, Chevy long bed reference, 258 inches in length, 78 inches high. Unknown vehicle estimated 180 to 185 inches, 55 to 58 inches. Dodge Dart specs, 183.9 inches, right in the middle. 57.7 inches, right in the middle. Do you have any additional footage showing the front of the unknown vehicle or its wheel design? So I pop in the vehicle pictures that we have from the King Road neighborhood and that picture of the vehicle coming on Ridge. The additional images reinforce the earlier identification. The vehicle appears to be a 2013 to 2016 Dodge Dart. Distinct window profile, racetrack taillight glow, front end lighting, body proportions. Comparisons to similar models, the Chrysler 200 shares the same platform, similar silhouette, but its taillights are separate units. The Kia Forte has a similar swept-back window line, but the taillight signature is very different, lacking the thick, flat, continuous bar. Based on the full-width rear light bar, the I-shaped rear window, and the size relative to the Chevy 2500, this vehicle is almost certainly a Dodge Dart. Now, I'm not saying the AI is right because when I look at some of the features on this vehicle compared to other videos, I see like the Ridge Road video. I mean, the tail light's going to be much more pronounced. The line on it looks like it's much more pronounced, but the stance of the vehicle, it's a much shorter width, I know, that we see in the King Road footage. And not only that, a lot of the Dart owners put this shark fin antenna on there that's much more pronounced than the normal antenna that comes on it. And that's something that's very apparent in the videos. The rear tail lights certainly match up. And just the shorter stance overall of the vehicle, I think matches up better to the video footage. And the rear of it certainly does. That's the key. But you can see the 13 to 16 Dart owners, a lot of them put this big shark fin antenna over their current antenna. It makes it more aerodynamic, which you can see right here. A lot of them do it. And that shorter stance and kind of dull look of that vehicle looks familiar. You see, when you slow this thing down frame by frame by recording it on slow and then uploading it on slow, you can really get frame by frame. I can even do it more. I can go to speed, slow it down all the way. And then watch this. You can literally get, frame by frame. So I can get it right there. And look how far the back glass actually goes up on the vehicle, matching to the window line right there. Let's see, as it goes forward, now we get some tail light blooming from those massive tail lights. See if we can find us another spot where we can really see this thing. All right, so as it's going around the corner here, you can almost see the big bloom of the back of the car's lights right there. It's almost like this car goes up and then has a flat back like an Eclipse is what it really looks like. A Mitsubishi Eclipse, an old model. But yeah, look how short the stance is on this car compared to the truck. And see, even from this view, these tail lights are so bloomed and bright, you can't even hardly see if it even has a trunk. Right there, you get a little bit more of a view. Look how squatty this thing is. Look how squatty this car is. Let's see, do we get a frame here that gives us a better view? Look at that right there. It almost looks like the back goes straight down. What is this? But you can see the rear tail lights because as it's starting to curve, it looks like they do wrap around a little bit. So a flat back with tail lights that, yeah, you can still see the tail light right here. So it wraps around a little bit. Right there, it looks like the Dart. Look at the window, goes back and it shoots up. That would be an interesting view to show AI too, I think. I'll work until I identify this vehicle 100%. We would know it's not a Hyundai Elantra though, and FBI must know it too with their report. Free Bryan Kohberger. Please like and subscribe to this channel. Post your comments, thoughts, criticisms. Till next time, Bob's out.